Hi everybody, my name's Sydney. I also go as SYD the KID on YouTube and Twitter and all the other stuff.
We are here with
Jonah.
Yes, Jonah of Neon Mother Beep Milk.
I have been in Korea for about 2.5 years and I'm here teaching English.
I am an English teacher here in South Korea, not here in Seoul, but in Daegu. And I also have a YouTube channel called SYD the KID, and I do things from reactions to talking about my travel experiences, some fashion things, and just out of the ordinary things that I just like to talk about.
You said you're from Chicago, and then before this you were in Cape Town. So what has been the experience, I guess maybe because South Africa is one thing and then Korea is something different. Like, have you had kind of moments of culture shock or like things that you've really had to adjust to and be like, okay, this is totally different from back home?
Right. So that's a good question, because I thought I would, because Cape Town, South Africa is very amongst the greenery and natural kind of way of things. So it was very, it was just, you step outside and you're just fresh air, just everything's peaceful, and it's just also it's the Rainbow Nation too, so there's so many different types of people there that live in Cape Town, so it's very diverse when I moved there. And then coming from there to here, I would think I would have more of a culture shock, because it's very homogenous and you don't see many people like me, let alone foreigners, so it was very hard for me to kind of just, I don't know, navigate my way.
Did you experience anything that was kind of a little bit more on the rough side of, the coin?
Yes, I definitely did. When I first got here, I did not really feel comfortable, and I guess I just didn't know what to expect. So when people stared, I just always assumed that it was a bad stare. It was kind of like, ew. But then I realized it was more of a look of like curiosity. Usually they're wondering like, what is she doing here? What is he doing here? Or like what brought them to Seoul? But sometimes their English skills aren't good enough to like just reach out and ask the question. Or they might say something and I'll think, what did you say to me? Like, are you talking bad about me or something? But oftentimes they'll be like, I like her hair or I like her style. But if I don't speak Korean, it can just be miscommunication. So these days when I see people stare, I just kind of give a little smile and they smile back, and then that goes away. I think older people are a little bit more curious and they get a little bit closer, and sometimes that's when you start to feel a little bit uncomfortable. My whole thing is just leave a positive impression on people wherever I go, and hopefully that will make them feel comfortable enough to ask the next foreigner when they see them, and just let them know that, we're all cool people, and even if we don't speak the same language, we can still smile at each other.
Very true.
Yeah.
What is it like in Daegu as opposed to somewhere like Seoul, where we have a lot, like around the university, or in Itaewon, there are like a lot more foreigners and it's exciting and fun. Like, are there a lot of foreigners where you are, or is it just you?
I'd say there's a decent amount. It's not, where I live in Daegu, it's kind of the, what would they call it? Kind of the Hongdae of Daegu is what they would call it. So it's, there's some younger people and there's some older people, and going with kind of the staring and the looks thing, I definitely get that. And sometimes you think, like, are they looking at me like with disgust, like what's happening? Some just have that face.
Yeah, it's true.
Some just have that face.
We found Neon Milk because we were researching, basically we wanted to find where are the LGBT people in Korea. What we heard was it's not something that you hear about often. You don't really see a gay culture. You don't really hear about people being out. So we were really curious, like, who's out here? Where are our people? How do we find them? And then we found you guys. So we wanted to hear, you said you're originally from?
I'm from Hawaii.
So what was your experience coming here? Like, I guess, finding the gay community and finding LGBT, and like kind of how did that feel for you in terms of like, was there culture shock in that sense?
Okay. Before I came to Korea, I was living in LA, which if you've ever been to WeHo, West Hollywood, like it's just streets and streets full of people. But I had heard the same thing as you, that, Korea's gay scene is not very big, kind of hidden. So I was fortunate enough to have some friends that already lived here before I moved here. So when I came, they kind of showed me around, and after you live here for a while and you go out a lot, you come to find that there actually is a really big scene, a huge community of people that all know each other. The only thing is that our meeting places are confined to one small area.
It's like there's laws to protect it, but not a lot of people actually like enforce the law. It's like been talked about that it's like in their constitution and rights and everything, but they don't like enforce it because they don't know how.
Right.
Like certain ways. So like a lot of like older people, like you can be discriminated against here over it and stuff. And there's not like a lot of like, I asked my Korean friend the other day and he had no idea what LGBTQ was even.
Right.
Yeah, if you go like to a gay club, you need to be gay. If you go to a lesbian, you need to be a lesbian. They don't allow like girls into gay clubs because there was a thing where people were taking pictures of who was gay and then they're putting it online. And people are getting discriminated
Like
against.
a safety issue, right?
So now they're doing like safety stuff and like stuff like that.
Crazy.
So basically, if you ever come to Itaewon in Seoul, you'll probably see every gay person that lives in the whole country. So,
That's amazing.
yes.
That's amazing. So exactly that. We were talking about, have we gone out? We haven't really gone out much. And we're like, where are the gay clubs? Like, if you come here as a member of the LGBTQ community and you want to go out and have fun and be with your people, where do you go?
So the way that Korea separates it is each big gay club is kind of separated by like a niche.
Okay.
So if you love K-pop / circuit clubs with boys taking their shirts off, then there's a club you can go to called King.
Okay.
If you love like really good dance music and really good drinks, and if you want to see me, then you'll come to Trunk, which is the best. It's my favorite place. And there's some other clubs. We have a bear club. We have, we have those kind of clubs. And then there's a lot of bars. Usually the bars, they're pretty small, but you can meet everybody mixing together. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
I feel like what you guys are doing with Neon Milk and creating your own space and creating a home. We were saying like at the Halloween ball, we really felt like, oh, we're home. Like we're with our people.
Aww.
This feels like where we're supposed to be. It was lovely.
So every time I make new Korean friends, I talk to them about LGBT and like stuff like that because I'm part of the LGBTQ community.
That is amazing. See, that's what we need. People just out here making presentations and teaching the world. This seems like a very cool experience. I feel like this is something you're never gonna forget, your year in Korea.
No, I'm not. I absolutely love it here. I'm gonna miss it because this is the biggest city I've ever lived in. I've never lived in a city that had more than one gas station.
How has it been for you professionally, coming as a foreigner to work?
Well, coming with the intention of being an entertainer in Korea has proven to be very, very difficult. There's a lot of space for models, a lot of space for actors, but kind of we always get pigeonholed into the stereotypical foreigner role. Especially if you're a person of color, it's a million times harder to make it here because they prefer that white, Caucasian, blonde hair, blue eye.
They want Monroe.
Yeah, so typically they want, you know, that look, but if you want to be a dancer, it's a million times harder. So the route that I've taken is kind of going the underground scene, underground dance competition, meeting local dancers, kind of building up my reputation that way. And then at the same time working in just a company as like an office worker. Sometimes you get recommended. Even more so, you always hear in entertainment that it's about who you know and not what you know, but it's a million times more of that in Korea.
Okay, that is very good to know.
rIVerse really is all about representing the underrepresented, and we are a group with different races, different sexualities, different body types, different everything. We realized we weren't really sure coming to Korea what that's like when there's not as much representation of people who look like you or even speak your language or anything like that. So do you think there are any ways that in Korean society we can kind of start seeing more representation, or kind of like you were saying, opening people's minds to the fact that there are so many different people in the world?
For one, I think the more people become open to coming to Korea is also the more, or the easier it will be to have that like conversation or have people just being exposed to more cultures, because if people here don't travel often, maybe they won't get that exposure. Be open to having conversations with people and not be afraid of what might come out of that conversation.
a woman came up to me, an older Korean woman, and she said hello, and I thought she was saying hi. And we got on the train, and there's usually a section where it's for just older people who are disabled or pregnant get to sit there. And she said, "Oh, come sit with me, please. I would love to talk to you." And I said, "Okay, cool." And her name's Veronica, and she's super sweet. And she told me her son lives in America, and she was there for a couple years. And she just had a whole conversation with me, and I could just see around the train just kind of like approving looks of especially the older men, which is kind of, it can be very jolting to try to be around some of the older Korean men here because they can be very like authoritative. But having her have that conversation with me and the interaction, that was actually kind of that moment where I was like, okay, like I don't feel so much isolated or so much of a novelty anymore.
I think these days people in Korea are becoming more open-minded. Even in this area, like we're right next to a university, and usually where there are universities, you have a lot of international students. And universities, they like to share ideas, and people exchange cultural ideas. So there are a lot of ways for us to do that.
Nadia said it. Come to Korea. And then 3 years later, you'll still be here.
For us in particular, that's another reason I'm really glad we came here to spread our music here, because that's our mission as well, right? Is to reach the world and everybody and like represent the underrepresented of people that don't necessarily always feel like they belong in a community, but like it's here, it exists now, and it's really beautiful. I love it. And then we meet people like you. We wouldn't have met Sydney otherwise. It's fantastic.
When I got that message from them, I was like, wait, what? I was like, oh my gosh, I legit freaked out, and my friend Ashley was like, we were in a coffee shop, she was like, what is happening? What is wrong? Why are you freaking out? And I was like, it's rIVerse. I was like showing her Instagram, and she was just so confused. And I was just like, you guys are so genuine and so great, and just the fact that you guys, not a lot of people are willing to do what you do, especially just venture out and just share what you want to do.
Awesome. This is so good. Well, thank you for coming. She traveled here from Daegu to meet with us, so thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys so much for having me.
Yes.
Once again, we are rIVerse, and we are live from Seoul. Not really live, but you know what I mean. Here in Hongdae. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below.
And don't forget to hit that notification bell, honey.
Thank ya. Thank ya.
Thank ya.
Thank ya.
Thank you.